Welcome back to the Verdict Zone, where we dissect the drama of modern life. I'm your host, and today, we have a case that is going to split the room. We're calling this one the birthday plot. So, here's the situation, fresh from my own social circle. A buddy of mine connects with a woman online. You know the drill, a few days of good chat, witty banter, a real spark. Things are looking promising. Then, she drops an invitation. Hey, it's my birthday this weekend, I'm having a few people over at my place. You should come. My friend is thinking, this is perfect. It's the ideal next step. It's casual, low pressure, and a great chance to meet her friends, see her in her element, and figure out if the vibe is real. It feels like a genuine sign of interest, a step beyond the superficial swiping. So he says yes, maybe even picks up a bottle of something nice on the way. He's excited. He arrives at the party. The music is playing, there are a few people milling around. She greets him at the door, gives him a hug, introduces him to a couple of her pals. He notices they're all guys. Okay, no big deal, maybe her close friends are men, totally normal. He grabs a drink and starts to mingle. But as the evening progresses, he starts to notice something odd. The gender ratio is getting seriously skewed. More and more guys keep trickling in. Each one gets the same warm welcome at the door. My friend starts to feel a strange sense of déjà vu with each new arrival. There are no groups of women chatting, no lifelong girlfriends sharing inside jokes. It's just a sea of dudes. Finally, the curiosity gets the better of him. He strikes up a conversation with another guy by the snack table. The classic icebreaker, so, how do you know the birthday girl? The guy responds, oh, we matched on Tinder a few days ago. My friend laughs, no way, me too. They share a moment of solidarity. Then, a third guy chimes in, wait, you guys too? I met her on Hinge. A ripple of realization starts to spread through the room. One by one, as conversations start and the question gets asked, the truth comes out. Tinder. Hinge. Bumble. Tinder again. Every single guest. Every single one of them was a recent match from a dating app. That's right. This wasn't a birthday party with her existing social circle. This was a carefully curated event populated entirely by men she'd recently connected with online, all brought together under the premise of a personal birthday celebration. My friend, and every other guy there, were essentially crowdsourced attendees. They weren't guests in the traditional sense, they were the party. They were the atmosphere, the social proof, the entire guest list rolled into one. The birthday girl wasn't introducing them to her world, she had created a world specifically for them, a world where they were all auditioning for the same role without even knowing it. Let's break this down, because there is so much to unpack here. For the next 15 minutes, we're going to get into it. First, let's talk about the sheer audacity of the planning. The logistics alone are mind-boggling. Imagine coordinating that many conversations, extending that many invitations, and managing the arrivals without anyone catching on beforehand. It's a masterclass in social engineering, for better or for worse. You have to wonder, what was the end goal? Was it efficiency? An attempt to vet all her potential suitors in one fell swoop, like a romantic cattle call? Or was it something simpler, like she just wanted a full house for her birthday and saw her dating apps as a resource to make that happen? Now, let's switch to the guest's perspective. Picture the exact moment of realization. That slow, dawning horror mixed with a little bit of dark humor. You go from feeling like you're a special invitee, a potential romantic interest, to realizing you're just one of a dozen identical candidates. The conversations must have been incredibly awkward. What do you even talk about after that? So, what was your opening line, or, which of your photos do you think got you the invite? The entire dynamic shifts from a social gathering to a bizarre, unspoken competition. There's also a question of safety. From her perspective, inviting a dozen strangers from the internet into your home seems risky. From their perspective, being in a house full of men who all thought they were on a quasi-date could create a tense, competitive atmosphere. It's a strange and unpredictable social experiment. But the core issue, the one we really need to debate, is this: where is the line between being resourceful and being deceptive? On one hand, you could argue this was a clever, if unconventional, way to meet people. In the digital age, we use apps for everything, from ordering food to finding a ride. Why not use them to populate a party? No one was physically harmed, everyone got free drinks and snacks. Maybe it's just a funny story to tell later. A harmless bit of social hacking. However, the other side of the argument is that this is fundamentally dishonest. It uses the pretense of romantic potential as a lure. Every single guy who showed up invested their time and their emotional energy. They likely turned down other plans, got their hopes up, and put themselves out there, all for what they believed was a genuine step toward a connection. Instead, they were used as props. They were a means to an end, the end being a lively birthday party for the host. They weren't valued as individuals, they were valued as bodies to fill a room. I reached out to a few people to get their takes. A friend of mine said, honestly, I respect the hustle. It's brilliant. She got a party, and all the guys got a story. But a social etiquette expert I spoke with had a different view. She called it emotionally tone deaf, arguing that it treats people's feelings and expectations as disposable. It ignores the vulnerability it takes to put yourself out there for a potential connection. The argument isn't about whether it was clever, it's about whether it was kind. It's about respect. Was the intention to genuinely get to know these men, or was the intention to use their interest for her own social gain? The deception lies in the framing. An invitation to a birthday party implies an introduction to an existing life. Come meet my friends. But there were no other friends. The entire premise was a fabrication designed to make each man feel like he was being given a special opportunity, when in reality, he was just part of a collection. So, this brings us to the big question I want you to sit with after this video. In our relentless search for connection, efficiency, and convenience, have we made it too easy and too casual to treat people as a means to an end? Has the swipe right culture eroded our sense of basic respect for transparent intentions? We optimize our lives, our calendars, our diets. Are we now optimizing our social lives at the expense of other people's feelings? Has getting the party started become more important than being honest about why you re-inviting someone in the first place? If this story fired up your opinion, and I know it did, you need to join our community. We live for these debates. We are the Verdict Zone, and this is what we do. So smash that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Because we dive deep into the stories that blur the lines every single week. Your judgment fuels this channel. Be part of the jury. Subscribe now.